ladies and gentlemen, to It Came from DC Comics here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a movie from 2012. That movie is Justice League Doom. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I really don't know a lot about this one because I don't know anything about, well, I know very little about the story arc this film is based on, because this thing is based on it is based on a Justice League story arc which was called The Tower of Babel, which, as I stated, I've never had a chance to read. I know very, very little, about it. I have heard that it is one of the better Justice League story arcs, and I'm certainly hoping that translates into a really good film. And considering the fact that every other DC animated film I've covered this month has been really good, I would be stunned if this thing turned out to be bad. So now, guys, I'm really just curious exactly what's going to go into this story. And once more, I am certainly hoping for it to be good, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Justice League Doom. Okay, I honestly do not fucking care if Ace was a fucking robot. That kill was a little bit harsh. Especially since it was a kill from Superman. That makes it feel even more kind of wrong. So the plan to kill Flash was to bolt a bomb to his wrist with a 3-mile blast radius. That seems just a little bit, excessive, guys. Guys, I was always curious about the origin of Vandal, Savage, and now honestly that I've heard it was a little bit of a, letdown. I honestly kind of thought he was gonna have a better fucking origin than a caveman who slept fucking next to a stone. Just seemed a little bit. It really did seem kind of sort of stupid, guys. So, wait a second. So apparently Vandal fucking Savage, amongst a rack of what are clearly, modern day military frickin' assault weapons, had one laser pistol in there? I'm sorry, guys, that just sort of seemed a little bit weird, to me. Wouldn't you keep all of your energy weapons, separate from all of your conventional weapons, or am I just thinking too much about how Vandal Savage organizes his shit? Well, guys, that was Justice League Doom. Let me shut that off. Okay, you know what? I am just going to come right out, guys, and say this. I had no... Well, first of all, as I said at the very start, I had no earthly clue what the hell the story of this... the story in this film was before I started watching. I tried to keep myself in the dark as much as possible. I was not expecting what basically is a darker version of an episode of Challenge of the Super Friends. Now, I do not want that to sound like a negative, because it really is basically a remake of probably the best episode of Challenge of the Super Friends, and they fixed the biggest flaw that episode had, which was its god-awful fucking cop-out, ending. At least here, everything kind of works. And it works really, really well. The plot is that the fucking Legion of Doom, which is in this film led by, is led by Vandal Savage and is far, far smaller than the Super Friends Legion of Doom, has basically hacked into Batman's systems. Well, he had Mirror Master hack into the system, whatever, and stole Batman's plans for taking out each member of the League in case they went, rogue. Which is a little bit different from the plans that were cooked up in the Super Friends episode, but still, at least this makes a hell of a lot more sense. And the Legion goes through with these plans, and Batman is able to counter he's able to counter every single one because because he not only has fucking contingencies, but he also has counters to all of them because he's Batman. What's kind of stunning is that when Mirror Master hacked into the system, they only got the fucking contingency plans. They didn't get Batman's countermeasures to undo the contingency plans in case that they worked. And Vandal Savage altered all of them to make all of them lethal instead of just something that would just, temporarily, disable the League. And Batman's countermeasures were still able to work. It really just doesn't feel... I mean, I kind of thought, guys, that Vandal Savage would have, altered them to a point where they couldn't have been done. But wait a moment. Because they said in the movie that Batman's plans were only to immobilize each member of the League in case they went rogue. Yet he knew that Flash's that the plan with Flash was to have a bomb bolted to his wrist that was going to go off if he stopped moving. How in fuck does that mean that Batman's plan for Flash really is put a bomb on his wrist? That, guys, is... Okay, guys, and that just dawned on me. It's like, that guy's is not going to... That is not going to immobilize Flash. That's going to fucking kill him. And Batman knew. Holy shit, that actually, guys, just made this whole thing a little bit darker. Anyway, guys, I am just sort of rattling off, story, points. I might as well get right into writing itself. Writing here is really good, and now, honestly, that I have thought about that, and I'm also now happening to, I also am now fucking-membering the two scenes where Superman is senselessly murdering fucking, robots. This thing is kind of dark. In fact, it is just almost painfully dark, and it totally works, guys, with this story, and the story is really sound, and you really are going to find yourself, sucked in. Everything here is done really, really well in terms of writing, and if you're a fan of, and if you're a fan of DC, comics in general, you're gonna love this. And if you're a fan of Justice League, you're probably gonna like this. I'm talking about the Justice League show because they were able to get a whole lot of the cast from that back to voice the characters here, which was certainly really cool. So yeah, guys, writing here is really good, and the more that I think about the writing, the darker the whole fucking thing feels. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next bit here, acting. As I stated, a whole lot of this cast was carried over from Justice League, and the Justice League cast always knew how to act and act very, very well. So guys, it honestly is not a shock that we have fantastic acting here. Nobody here actually, guys, turned in a poor showing, guys. Acting here is top notch. So yeah, so yes, guys, the acting here is really strong. Art style here looks really cool. I really, really kind of sort of liked the way that everything was, drawn up here. Somehow, and I'm not quite able to figure out why, but Superman looks almost kind of sort of retro here. I really think it has to do with his fucking chest emblem. It really looks kind of sort of like the way that the emblem was drawn in the 70s, which I think also kind of sort of harkens back to the fact that this whole plot was lifted from an episode of, Super Friends. I guess it doesn't hurt to give Superman a slightly more retro-looking chest emblem. Again, though, all of that ties into the artwork, and the artwork here is really good. Animation here is really, really smooth. I really liked everything, guys, that I saw in this movie. Music here is awesome. The sound mix here is great. Guys, ultimately, when all is said and done, I can totally recommend recommend Justice League Doom, especially if you are a fan of Challenge of the Super Friends, and if your favorite episode was Death of the Super Friends. This thing here is a much darker remake of that episode, and god damn it, it did it really well. So yeah, guys, I can totally recommend this, and since I've talked about this in the last couple episodes, this thing also has on it as bonus features. It has two episodes of Justice League, and it's the two-parter. And it's the two-parter of, you know, Justice League, which had the Royal Flush Gang, which honestly to me is probably one of the coolest supervillain teams out there. And the reason why that's in there is because the movie starts with the League fighting against the Royal Flush Gang, and the Royal Flush Gang in this movie were really fucking badass. I would really like to see a movie where it's just the League fighting against them. I think that would make for a really solid movie at like some point. But yeah, guys, I can totally recommend this. The movie, the movie here is awesome, and the bonus features kick ass. This thing's totally worth a purchase. Now, Justice League Doom came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Kari, and I'm going to link you guys to Kari's. It's to Kari's Let's Play channel. Kari, I thank you. This thing here is far better than I was friggin' expecting. I would not have known if you hadn't sent it in, and for that I thank you. Now, I talked about the two episodes that are on here from, Justice League. I'm going to watch those right now because I haven't seen those episodes in quite a few years. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.